Good morning. You're welcome to Newsroom live from our studios here at GHOne TV. My name is Abena Owusu Nyamekye. Here are the headlines. Mixed reactions greet the upward adjustment of transport fares across the country. We'll bring you the mood from some transport yards in Accra. Former presidential staffer Clement Park describes as worrying the president's inability to name his cabinet 3 months after he was sworn into office. Later in business, foreign investor confidence bounces back on the Ghana Stock Exchange as brokers continue to record some significant interest. And in sports, Black Star skipper Samuel Jan endorses return of former coach Kwesi Appiah. We'll bring you some international news where at least 30 people have been killed in a road accident in central Zimbabwe after the bus heading to neighboring South Africa hit a hillock truck. Here's our first story. There was some confusion at some transport yards in the capital following the 15% increment in transport fares. Passengers this morning accused drivers and their conductors for overcharging them and demanded that the Ghana Private Road Transport Union bring documented evidence on how much drivers should charge. The passengers want the document pasted in all commercial vehicles to prevent the situation where commercial drivers cash in on unsuspecting pedestrians.
Transport operators in the nation's capital, Accra, have increased their fares by 15% as announced by the Ghana Private Road Transport Union GPRTU, the umbrella body for transport operators. At the New Plant station near the Kwame Nkrumah interchange on Thursday, passengers, although agreed to comply with the increment, say some drivers are taking advantage of the change in price to charge more than the 15% increment.
As the 50% of 2 CD, 1 CD, 80% is how much? I don't know. Yes.
Have you tried speaking to the station master?
No. I just joined the car, so I can't ask anything. I'm going to go to the city, 1 CD, 210.
When there is an increment, the government will come with the price. The government comes with the price. So before you come, you know that if you leave it to the drivers to do the increment, they will definitely teach the people. 15%. If 15% is it no more than 30 cities is more than. It's more than the 15%.
You know, Ghana, if something comes, they will complain. As long as they are stepped, they said that we are cheating them, but we don't mind them. We are continuing to do our work.
But General Secretary of the GPRTU, Isa Khalitha, explained some drivers charge more than the 15% due to the non-availability of 1 and 5 pesos.
Where the fare is 1 CD. You know, of course, the 15% of 1 CD is 15 pesos. It has been rounded up to 20 pesos. That's why we agreed with the ministry. All the transport operators and the ministry agree on this. And where the fare is 130, 1 CD 30 pesos, then it is 1 CD 50 pesos.
Passengers heading to Banana Inn from Circle, who were initially paying 1 CD 80 pesos, are now paying 2 CDs 1 peso, while passengers heading to Agege before today, who were paying 2 CDs, are now paying 2 CD 30 pesos. Also, some drivers are charging 1 CD 40 pesos from passengers heading to Kaneshi from the Kwame Nkrumah interchange lorry park. The same distance a day or 2 ago cost passengers 1 CD 20 pesos.
Former Power Minister Kwabena Donkor has decried the high spate of highway robberies and has called on government to act immediately. The Member of Parliament for Peru East was delivering a statement in Parliament on the matter.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Kumasi-Yechi Road has suffered the occasional highway armed robbery in the past. The people had lamented but largely live with the situation, with the occasional demonstration to draw the attention of the Ghanaian state. The Yeji branches of Ghana Private Road Transport Union have been at the forefront of these sporadic agitations. The last 6 months have, however, seen an intensification of the armed highway robbery beyond anything that has been seen in the past. In the last 2 months, passengers and motorists have been killed, maimed, rendered paupers through this diabolical activity. Virtually no week passes by without an attack on innocent travelers by these organized armed robbers. The districts of Pru, Sene East and West, Atebubu Amantin, Edrase, populated by about 500,000 citizens of this great nation, have been taken hostage by these marauding gangs of armed highway robbers.
To one of our top stories, where the Member of Parliament for Bulsa North, Dr. Clement Park, has described as worrying President Akufo-Addo's inability to name members of his cabinet 3 months after being sworn in as president. According to him, the delay does not speak well of President Akufo-Addo's democratic credentials, given that his predecessor, John Mahama, announced his cabinet members immediately after swearing in his ministers. The Constitution allows a maximum of 19 members of cabinet.
The good people of Ghana deserve to know which of the over 36 substantive ministers is going to sit in cabinet. Yes, the Constitution per Article 76 says that the president can have not less than 9 and not more than 19. And I would respect that government business is ongoing. Who are those that the president is consulting? Who is a member of the president's cabinet? The good people of Ghana deserve to know. This is even more important because of the creation of new ministries. And I think that if the president truly wants us to believe that he's in a hurry, the announcement publicly of who is a member of his cabinet must also be factored into this equation.
To some, party politics and the internal wrangling in the opposition NDC is heightening, with many leading figures of the party coming out to share their views on why the party lost the 2016 elections. In a rare interview, the MP for Jirapa, Dr. Francis Bawana Dakora, has been sharing his frustration about how people close to the then president prevented many party stalwarts from seeing the ex-president to offer him advice. Dr. Dakora revealed it took him more than 1 year to get access to former President Mahama when he was in power. He spoke to Besiwa Dawuna Hammond on GH Today.
I believe that he perhaps was listening to just people around him.
The people around him.
Yeah, the
very close one we usually saw.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes. There's some ways who wouldn't allow easy access for other issues to be brought to the president and things like that. And I know for sure that he is someone, if you met, have you ever met former president one-to-one?
I haven't.
You haven't. When you immediately meet him, you like him. He's very affable. He's like, this gentleman is easily spoken to. He will have time to turn on to listen to you. So you ask, what happens when it came to governance? What happens when it came to policies? Because a lot of people, I just don't know. I mean, it was a disjoint. I just can't fathom what happened.
Did you ever have the opportunity to speak with him?
In fact, that's not something I want to go into again, because I had an interview with GHOne and I expressed my feeling on that. But I might be add some time to come. But I said, even when he asked that he wanted to meet with me, it was made impossible. He actually...
By who?
By those around him. And I think that, I wouldn't like to mention names, but I think that those that were responsible for organizing his diary never allowed it. And I remember I called and he says, do you have the number of this person? I said, I don't. President himself gave me the number of the person and says, he organizes my diary. Can you call him and book an appointment? My sister, I called, the person will pick and say, call me around this time, I'll call. It went on like that for 1 year and I stopped.
1 whole year?
1 whole year. And I felt so demeaned. I stopped. And when I met President, I only met him at public places. And when he meets me, he said, "Oh, Dakra, we need to talk. We need to talk." I said, "How do I talk with you? I'm not allowed to even do it."
Interesting developments there within the NDC. Now, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers is holding a press conference on a number of issues they identified during the 2016 presidential and parliamentary elections. My colleague Dela Michelle is at the event and joins me over the phone to tell us what CODEO has been saying. Dela, good to have you. So what issues have been outlined by CODEO?
Well, it's good to have you too, Abena. I'll say that participants for CODEO, first of all, we're very pleased with election 2016. According to them, the EC successfully delivered free and fair and a peaceful election, particularly in the management of polling process on the election day. And there was improvement in the media ability to access information on election issues from the EC and other political parties. But yes, some gaps have been mentioned by the participants. One was about the persistent gaps with the credibility of the voter register, particularly the issues relating to establishing the eligibility of registrants, challenges with cleaning the registrar to remove names of disease, and also mistrust and suspicion still exists between the EC and some political parties. So CODEO participants of CODEO brought up these few issues, and they have done some recommendations, and I would like to share some with you. They're saying that they rather wish that the Electoral Commission should maintain the current 2016 registrar while it continues to clean and audit the register. This is to actually make sure that all the names are being involved and that it actually should appreciate the steps in to clean the voters register.
But Dela, looking at the issues that were highlighted with regard to the voters register, do they in any way think that it had any impact on the electoral results?
Well, for CODEO, it did not have a strong impact, but they are hoping that it will be cleared so issues that came up during election 2016 will not repeat itself in the next election period.
Thank you very much. Dela Michelle is my colleague, and he joined us from CODEO's post-election press conference here in Accra. You're watching the newsroom on GHOne TV. It's live on our website, ghonetv.com/livestream. Also on our Facebook page, GHOne TV, and on YouTube, GHOne TV. Let's take you to the Ashanti region, where Princess Anne, daughter of the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, has paid a courtesy call on the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II at the Nyamekye Palace in Kumasi. The visit of Her Royal Princess Anne is in strong recognition of a strong bond between Ghana and England, and to extend the friendship between the two royal families in her third visit to the country.
Her Royal Princess Anne was warmly greeted to Edeba at the Nyamekye Palace in Kumasi. She was led by UK's High Commissioner to Ghana, John Benjamin, and Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei Mensah, Kumasi City Mayor Charles Osei Esibe, and Ashanti Regional Police Commander, among others. Princess Anne used the opportunity to pay tribute to the Asante King for the loss of his mother, the late Asantehene Nanefia Kobisewa Ampim II. UK Commissioner John Benjamin spoke on behalf of Her Royal Princess Anne.
Her Royal Highness's visit is an opportunity for us to recognize the unique bond between our two countries and to extend a friendship between our two royal families that stretches back generations. I would also like to take this opportunity on behalf of Her Royal Highness to pay tribute to your mother, the Asantehene. In attending her funeral, I saw for myself the collective mourning of a nation, but also the collective celebration of a life so well lived.
Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II also commended Princess Anne for her charity works, which brought her to Ghana.
You undertake a number of duties and engagements on behalf of your mother in support of her role as sovereign of the Commonwealth realms. Your visit to Ghana attests to your commitment to the development of women and the girl child, which are fundamental to the development of any country, and for this we are grateful for Opportunity International support for God's Heritage Academy and voluntary service overseas support at the Wesley College of Education.
Now, the wife of the Vice President, Samira Bawumia, has launched a project dubbed The Story of Our Lives. The project is a practical mentorship drive targeted at young girls to enable them realize their future aspirations. The second lady cautioned young girls not to allow smartphones and social media to destroy their lives, but rather take advantage of technology positively to impact their lives and others positively.
The conference also aims at encouraging young girls to work hard to achieve their life's goals without compromising their morality and virtues. This event is expected to be replicated across the country in subsequent years. Founder of the Men Fight Foundation, the organizers of the Story of Our Lives, Dr. Bettina Amabuahin Anda, stated that distinguished female professionals from all walks of life will tour the country to share their unedited life with young girls at the senior high school level.
I came from a background where right was right and wrong was wrong. But what I also say is that you must know, sometimes you have an intuition that what you're doing is not right. You'll be shocked to know that some parents actually tell their children that it's okay to go out there and go and collect, a bit of money so that you can bring it home to look after. So, good parenting.
The second lady, Samira Bawumia, sharing her real-life story, said giving up in life means seeing the crown but not willing to go the extra mile for it. She cited her 8-year political fight as one of her most challenging moments in her life.
What has kept me going? And it's this. Now, no matter what you're going through, don't give up. It sounds cliche, but really, it works. You need to get right back on your feet and move on steadily. Take, for instance, the past 8 years of campaigning for political power in this country. It was a long 8 years. I sacrificed a lot. Our children hardly see us. We gave it everything. But we lost 2 consecutive elections. And rather than seeing it as a setback, I look at the lessons, the values that we got from it. I picked the lessons that came and the lessons that have helped me to be an enhanced person. I feel like those years helped me to grow. So I asked myself, if we had won in 2008, would I be the woman I am today? Probably not. Certainly not.
President and CEO of the Whitaker Group, Rosa Whitaker Duncan William, advised young ladies to see God as their solution to every challenge they face in life.
Don't start slipping for a great fall. If you find yourself in a situation similar to this, run, don't walk. Anytime your pleasure comes from another woman's pain, there will be a price. God will forgive you, and you must forgive yourself. But forgiveness is no guarantee that there will not be consequences. Now, if you decide to stay in it, you're really saying to God, I don't trust you. I don't trust you to meet my needs. I don't trust you to fill my emptiness. So the first wisdom key from my she friends is trust God and love yourself.
Lecturer and journalist at the Webster University, Esther Arama, has called on all media institutions to follow laid-down regulations on reporting sexual assault stories. According to Esther Arama, most sexual assault stories currently being reported in the media comes with the names and pictures of victims, a situation she described as unethical.
Speaking during a media summit workshop dubbed Reimagine Ghana 2017, Stories, Standards, Sex, Esther Arama indicated that stigma, shame and silence does not serve a growing media industry. She then advised the media to pay more attention to the regulations that exist and implement them, as well as paying attention to organizations like UNICEF that has provided guidelines on how sexual assault stories should be reported.
You'll hear a report saying the woman had sex with a man, but when you actually look at the story, it's an allegation of sexual assault. Why does that matter? Because stories influence those who are listening, watching or reading. We could come together And one, pay attention to the regulation that exists and implement it. Pay attention to organizations like UNICEF that will give us guidelines about how to report these issues, and then we, as an industry, can simply choose to follow the guidelines.
Media icon and host of Star Drive, Anita Eskin, stated that though there are regulations as to how sexual assault stories should be reported, the regulators do not pay much attention to the storytellers.
Well, there are amazing tons of regulations. The problem is the regulators are not paying attention to the storytellers. So people can get away with reporting it any which way they want and not held accountable. So in terms of what do I want to see? I want to see the regulators. I want to see the writers of the rules making sure that media houses abide by those rules. And if we don't abide by those rules, then we should be held accountable and we should be fined and sanctioned.
She also indicated that the media must familiarize themselves with the law, adding, a misinformed society is a gloomy one.
Still with issues about the media, the National Media Commission has said it is still working at implementing measures to combat the spread of fake news online. This comes days after a spoof news website reported that former President Rawlings had died. Condemning the fake news website, Executive Secretary of the Commission, George Sapong, called on media houses to cross-check their facts before putting information out.
In March this year, a website by name meganews360.com reported former President Rawlings had died. According to the website, the former president died at Kolebu after he collapsed suddenly in his Ridge residence. But 2 days after the report, the former president was seen at the Burma Camp Methodist Presby Church during the funeral ceremony of the late Michael Kumi Danso. Although the former president has declined to comment on the issue, the Media Commission has condemned the report and cautioned against fake news report.
The challenge with this kind of story is that first, it is not true, it is not accurate, and it is also not fair to the personalities involved. And particularly when the personalities involved are also national level leaders, you want to be extremely careful and be sensitive to they themselves, their families, and the many people who definitely have interest in their survival and all. And I don't think that it is right.
He added, even though the Media Commission hasn't yet got the capacity to control fake news online, it reassured that it will soon implement measures to fight spoof news sites.
What is the most democratically effective way of providing standards and enforcing them in the electronic communication space? We are still searching, and we hope that over time we may find an answer. But to be sincere with you, judging by international best practice, we thought that LI 2224 provided the best avenue to sanitize the media.
He advised media practitioners to cross-check their facts before putting it out in the public domain.
Let's now take you to the Ashanti region on a rather sad note. We brought you that report about Kumaka, the students who died. Yesterday, reports emerged that they died from meningitis. We understand that they are being buried today. Frema Boache is with EIB's Ultimate FM in Kumasi, and she has joined me on the phone now. Frema, where is this ceremony taking place, and what can you tell us?
The ceremony is taking place at Asawase, and I've been here for a while now, and I can see lots of people all clad in their mourning attire and commiserating with the family. After the time I got here, they had taken the body to the cemetery together with the father and some of the family members. But I came to meet the mother of the child here in the person of Ekia Kuma. And in my earlier interactions with her, she told me that Benjamin Okuku Ajiman, who's the child who just passed away, so dear to her, and was hoping that someday he would become the doctor he had always wanted to be, to serve him and take care of her.
Quite a sad development. And so it's just one of the students and not the four of them?
Come again, please.
I'm asking whether this ceremony is for just one of the students who passed and not the four.
Yes, it's one of the students who passed away. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Frema Boache joined us in Kumasi, where we understand that one of the 4 students of Kumaka who passed on is being buried today. You're watching Newsroom on GHOne TV. My name is Abena, Owusu, Nyamekye. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Mixed reactions greet the upward adjustment of transport fares across the country. Former presidential staffer Clement Sepak describes as worrying the president's inability to name his cabinet 3 months after he was sworn into office. I'll bring you business later on, where foreign investor confidence has bounced back on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And in sports, Black Star skipper Sam Wajan endorses the return of former coach Kwesi Appiah. On the foreign front, at least 30 people have been killed in a road accident in central Zimbabwe. We've got details for you right here. We've got more for you on Newsroom right after this break. Do stay.
I am a legend. He is a legend. And he is a legend. And he is a legend. I am a legend. We are legends. In the midst of legends, I am the host. My understanding of the game is better enhanced as we speak football on GHOne television. Catch us every Friday for 90 minutes of fun-filled discussions right here on this network.
For 2 months, building in this country is too difficult.
Don't worry, the National Investment Bank We Pay for Your Dream scheme can help you finance your building project.
Listen, NIB gave me cement, iron rods, roofing sheets, and other materials to finish my building.
NIB can also help you purchase your home appliances, your mobile phones, and your motorbikes.
You don't even need to have an NIB account to benefit from the NIB We Pay for Your Dream scheme. No.
Just visit any NIB branch with a valid national photo ID card. And the best part is, all purchased products are at no interest.
Call NIB now on 050-145-1050.
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
You're welcome back. The Minister of Aviation, Cecilia Dapa, has disclosed that the Sunyani Airport will soon receive a major facelift to boost air transport in the country.
The Aviation Minister, Cecilia Dapa, made the revelation when she embarked on a tour of the Sunyani Airport. The visit was to enable the minister familiarize herself with the facilities at the center and make recommendations to government at improving them. Cecilia Dapa, during a press briefing, indicated that government will revamp the country's air transport as a means to spur economic growth in the country.
We noticed that there are few encroachments on the side of the town, and we will take it up with the chiefs to make sure no further encroachment takes place. And you know the reason why we came is that no airplanes, commercial, fly to the possibility of maybe in future widening the runway and lengthening it.
The minister further complained about encroachment near the airport area and promised to deal with the situation.
Now, 354 people have died in road crashes between January and February this year alone. According to statistics available at the National Road Safety Commission and the Motor Traffic and Transport Departments, the figure for the first 2 months of 2017 is significantly higher than the first quarter of 2016. Authorities who lamented the development attributed it to drunk driving, wrongful overtaking and excessive speed.
Number of 5,403 vehicles were involved in these road crashes, with Accra and Tema recording the highest figures of 1,300 of such crashes, representing a 10.69% increase over the same period last year. Until the year 2017, Ghana was succeeding in minimizing accidents on its roads. Suddenly, the statistics are becoming more ugly again. In 2016, road crashes reported nationwide for the first quarter amounted to 1,873. However, in 2017, the figure shot up to 1,986 just between January and February alone. In the first quarter of 2016, 2,791 vehicles were involved in road crashes, while January and February 2017 statistics for the same case has risen to 5,043, representing a difference of 2,252. 337 fatalities were filed for the first quarter of 2016, while January and February 2017 recorded 354. 1,775 injuries were recorded for the first quarter of 2016, while 2,065 of injuries have been documented for January and February 2017. Road crashes continue to claim the lives of many Ghanaians daily, a situation largely attributed to drink driving, wrongful overtaking, and speeding beyond the appropriate road limits, among others. The Executive Director of the National Road Safety Commission, Engineer Meobri Yeboah, and the Director in charge of Research and Training at the Motor Traffic and Transport Department, DSP Alexander Obeng, explained what has accounted for the surge in road crashes for January and February 2017.
If you look at the statistics since 1991, it has always been considered that speeding has been the major cause of some of these crashes, which means that if the human factor is still the human factor, the speeds have been regulated. I'm sure we could have prevented some of them.
Some of them are driving aggressively and without due care and attention to other road users. That's also manifesting itself in particular in curves and on hills and on crests. People are changing lanes and overtaking and facing oncoming vehicles dangerously.
Notwithstanding, the National Road Safety Commission says it has launched a nationwide campaign aimed at educating drivers and pedestrians on road traffic regulations with the aim of reducing road accidents. She has also advised Ghanaians to be safety conscious ahead of the Easter festivities.
As we go about this Easter season, we should think safety. It should be the first thing we should be thinking about. Safety should be first, and we should be thinking safety.
Indeed, safety is important. Let's now take you to Parliament, where we understand the National Security Minister Kandapa has denied the existence of political party vigilante groups. Ibrahim Al-Hassan, our parliamentary correspondent, joins me on the phone with more. Ibrahim, what explanations did the minister give?
Well, Abena, according to the minister, as it stands now, no political vigilante group, or for that matter, any vigilante group at all, has been registered as such. So the state does not recognize the existence of any of these groups. He, however, explains further that these are a group of young men with common interests who have decided to put themselves together and then work towards achieving that common interest. Some of the activities have been described as excesses, and these are criminal aspects of the activities that must be treated as such. So he mentioned that the Interior Ministry and other security agencies are on top of the issues, and they are working towards dealing with the criminal aspects of the activities of these vigilante groups. The minister was in Parliament to answer a specific question that came from the Asawase MP, Honorable Mubarak Muntaka, to the effect that he sought to find out from the minister when exactly the activities of these vigilante groups, and for that matter, the vigilante groups in general, will be disbanded. His answer to that was a definite uncertainty, basically, given the fact that he said once these groupings are not recognized, it will be practically impossible for them to be disbanded. So also going further to explain that it is not the first time the activities of these vigilante groups have come up in the news. They've happened in the past. And that if leadership at that time dealt with it, they wouldn't have the same menace on our hands. So he called on Parliament and then the political groupings to rope in their members who have formed these groupings.
And I'm sure we'll delve into these comments by the National Security Minister Kandapa subsequently. But thank you very much. Ibrahim Al-Hassan is our parliamentary correspondent. We can now bring you some business news. Foreign investor confidence is bouncing back on the Ghana Stock Exchange as brokers continue to record some significant interest of foreign investors on the equity market. Already in the first quarter of 2017 has seen the Ghana Stock Exchange record over 291 million cedis in value traded, representing over 100% increase during the same period last year.
According to the head of brokerage at Databank Research, Alex Boahin, the Accra bourse started the year 2017 on a good footing when interest rates in treasury bills started dropping and most stocks remained underpriced. He said investors had no choice than to take advantage.
Compare with last year, you realize that the volume of shares that have been traded for the quarter, or that were traded for the quarter, increased by more than 100%. I mean, it doubled from 27 million shares that was traded in the first quarter of 2016 to 70 million shares that were recorded for 2017 first quarter. So the market has been quite vibrant, to be honest. And if you compare that with if you translate that into values, you realize that the value of shares that were also traded has gone up quite significantly by nearly 40%. Most banking stocks were trading below their book value, and that has. And secondly, we also observe a trend where interest rate on the money market is also declining, and that also offers some impetus for the stock market growth.
Questioned if the trend is likely to continue into the second quarter of 2017, Alex Boahin said he was optimistic some pension funds would be channeled into companies listed on the stock market, and that is likely to boost trading.
We have also seen some sort of renewed sentiment among foreign investors, and historically they have been very significant part of our stock market activities, probably looking at more than 50% of trading activity on the market. So once we see that these people are coming back, it gives further boost for the stock market. And also, you notice that over the past couple of years, pension fund managers have really concentrated on the fixed income market. By this time, we see some shift from fixed income to the equity market. So all these things point to a positive outlook.
Now, former governor of the Bank of Ghana and chairman of Hoda Holdings, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, has expressed concerns about the low penetration of insurance in Ghana. Addressing the 38th Management Day celebration organized by the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Duffuor said less than 2% of Ghana's population are actively covered by insurance, and this is way below the world average.
The University of Ghana Business School Management Day celebrations was instituted in 1970 with the objective of bridging the gap between industry and academia by bringing stakeholders to deliberate on strategies for harnessing the content and delivery of business education. Chairman of Hoda Holdings, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, who spoke on the theme Finance and Insurance for Inclusive National Development, said Ghana had shown a strong representation with the number of financial institutions registered so far. However, he expressed worry about the low level of financial inclusion, adding a lot more people are still unbanked.
There remains a large group of unbanked people in Ghana. The percentage of the population with no insurance policy is even much higher. I sincerely believe that banking and insurance form the two sides of what I refer to as finance coin, so that development ought to be equally matched. Unfortunately, in Ghana, the insurance side of the coin is very weak.
Managing Director of Calbank, Frank Edu Jr., spoke on financing Ghana's development from within, the issues, prospects and challenges. He noted several factors were inimical to Ghana's quest to raise funds on the domestic front, adding that high interest rates and a narrow tax base continue to remain a challenge.
The tax share of GDP in the past decade and a half has only increased marginally. Our tax bases are narrow, with taxes being barely progressive. A review of Ghana's tax revenue for the past 8 years shows that though tax revenues increased, the growth rate has been declining since 2014. This is because the growth in tax revenue was driven by imposition of new taxes and tax rates and not as a result of broadening the tax nets. This situation increases the tax burden of the individuals and companies who are already in the tax net, thereby imposing untold hardships on many.
Deputy Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Eko Afeji, who was the chairman for the occasion, formally launched the UGBS reader.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has charged a new 9-member board of the Ghana Infrastructural Fund to mobilize financial support from the private sector to add up to government's contribution towards the transformation of the country's infrastructure.
Addressing the board members after administering the oaths of office, the president indicated the Ghana Infrastructure Fund is an important vehicle through which governments can leverage on to generate other sources of funding for the infrastructural needs of the country.
The fund is an important vehicle which Ghana can use its 250 million seed funding to leverage capital from other sources for the nation's infrastructure financing and development.
The board is chaired by Professor Christopher Ameyao Ekumfi.
Well, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says the unavailability of appropriate, accurate and reliable data for decision-making at all levels of society is responsible for the poor performance of governments in Ghana. Dr. Bawumia says the country must, as a matter of urgency, develop a roadmap aimed at creating sustainable platforms for data generation if our development paradigm is to change.
The Vice President disclosed this when he delivered the keynote address at a forum organized by the Statistical Service on the theme Ghana's Data for Sustainable Development Roadmap Forum. The major thematic areas the forum considered included data communication, managing data ecosystem, evidence-based decision-making, data disaggregation, exploring new types of data, geospatial data, open data, citizen-generated data, and big data. Dr. Bawumia spoke about government plans to roll out a new and security-enhanced national ID card system and a comprehensive digital address system to help integrate all Ghanaians.
These three pillars are making sure that everybody is identified. So this year we are issuing national ID cards for the population. The second pillar is to make sure that where everybody lives is also identified. So we are implementing a digital addressing system this year so that we can identify every property or location.
The two-day Data Management Forum has participants drawn from the National Development Planning Commission, the Ministry of Finance, Ghana's SDG Implementation Committee, Send Ghana, civil society organizations, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and the Local Government Ministry. Other international participating organizations include the UN, the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development Data, the Right to Access to Information Commission of Sierra Leone, among others.
And that's all we have for you in Business this hour, but it's now time for some sports news.
Ghana captain Asamoah Gyan has endorsed the return of his former coach and says he will need a total support to achieve success. The Black Star skipper believes Kwesi Appiah is the right candidate to replace Avram Grant as Black Stars head coach following the Israelis' departure in February. Appiah was handed a 2-year contract this week, beating off competitions from Frenchman Willy Sango and Cameroon's coach Hugo Broos. Gyan worked under the 56-year-old between 2012 and 2014, during which he was named skipper of the national team. Gyan added he and his teammates will try their best to win their first game under Kwesi Appiah massively to help him have a better start, saying that whoever thinks Kwesi Appiah is not the right choice and hence won't respect him might be having a short memory. Appiah will officially begin his second stint on May 1, and his first major task will be the 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifying games against Congo on August 28 at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi.
Up next year is international news.
At least 30 people have been killed in a road accident in central Zimbabwe after their bus heading to neighboring South Africa hit a haulage truck. Reports say the bus caught fire when it came into contact with the side of the truck, while a witness says it was impossible to evacuate casualties. Nobody could help, and so the bodies were burnt to part in lawmaking. A coalition of 7 parties that supported Mr. Barrow during last year's presidential election has collapsed, with candidates from each now competing each other. The party that supported Mr. Yaya Jammeh, the APRC, is also taking part.
So that was our international news package for you. This is Newsroom on GHOne TV. Here are the top stories. Mixed reactions greet the upward adjustment of transport fares across the country. Former presidential staffer Clement Apak describes as worrying the president's inability to name his cabinet 3 months after he was sworn into office. In business, foreign investor confidence bounces back on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Black Star skipper Asamoah Gyan endorses the return of former coach Kwesi Appiah. And on the international front, at least 30 people have been killed in a road accident in central Zimbabwe. I'm grateful for your time with us today on Newsroom. My name is Abena, Owusu, Nyamekye. There's more this evening at 7 News Tonight. Do join us.
By popular demand, the revenge is back.
I'm sorry, Durga. I can't marry you.
Is this how you treat your daughter? If your daughter over here was in Durga's shoes, would you let this happen? Would you let this happen with Kangna?
Catch all the excitement, the drama, the thrills, and the unending suspense on The Revenge as it hits your TV screens once again.
Durga Thakur, I know you are responsible for Shaurya's state.
Shaurya doesn't know what life is, what pain is.
You think that you will be able to evade